So here we are. I now have a modded Maverick, and this footage you're seeing right now was actually taken at least a couple weeks after me actually modding it. Since then I have broken my tripod. LA is flooding. It is currently raining, and we have flood warnings here in my town, so we'll see how this goes. But yes, I have a modded Maverick now. This is Billy's Maverick that I actually modded for him. If you don't know who that is, he's the mascot of our channel, Billy the Capybara, and I modded his Maverick. Now, you're probably wondering, why in 2024 would you mod a Maverick? And we'll get to that in a second, but let's go over what exactly I have done to Billy's Maverick. First and foremost, we have the drop cylinder mod, which means not only does the cylinder float freely, but you can also front load the cylinder a lot easier now, and a lot faster, I'd say. With some practice, I have managed to get pretty good at being able to slam it back in, although there are some problems with the rotation rack, which we'll get into in a second. So once it's in, you may need to give it a good shake to realign it, and then you should be okay, but it has problems. On top of the drop cylinder mod, I did also modify the cylinder by taking out the dart posts and air restrictors. I padded the plunger tube and added a stack of 5 pennies glued together to act as a spring rest for the spring. So now this thing hits a little bit harder. Even in its modded form, I don't think the Maverick is quite as good as a stock strong arm, and it doesn't hold a candle to really any sidearm that we have today, but it's fun to use, and I've really enjoyed modding it and playing with it so far. But it does have some issues, like I said, one being the rotation mechanism. But because of this drop cylinder mod, the rotation mechanism now has some issues. So you basically need to walk the trigger, making it really difficult to get 6 shots off in a row successfully, which we'll try right now. I do have this loaded up with some Adventure Force chili darts, or Dart Zone chili darts. Same thing. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I messed up on the last one. Come on. There we go. I'm sure that's a problem I can probably go in and fix myself, but I haven't gone around to it yet. So for now, that's just something I gotta deal with. Or I guess something that he has to deal with. Oh man, he's gonna be so mad at me. And if you want to mod a Maverick like this one here, I'll leave a link down in the description to the tutorial I used from Jumbo Pancake Nerf. The Maverick itself also is just a very classic blaster for a lot of people. It probably was their first blaster or even their first mod. However, I will not be reviewing the Maverick, but I will leave a link in the description to a video from Testra's Nerf Room, a more modern review of the Maverick that I think does the Maverick justice. Also, real quick, before we move any further, if you have a Maverick, why don't you grab it right now and take a look at the handle and tell me if yours has the same exact scrapes it does on the handle as mine, because I feel like every Maverick I've ever come across has these exact same scrapes. They're just unavoidable. But anyway, now it's time to answer the question, why would you mod a Maverick in 2024? Well, for starters, it's a dirt cheap mod. Aside from the tools and the blaster itself, which in of itself is dirt cheap, the only money you're really putting into this is the 5 pennies that you use as a spring rest. Seriously, this thing show up everywhere, all the time, at thrift stores, at swap meets, on eBay. And I know this because I've checked multiple times. You can buy lots of just Mavericks, like 20 Mavericks for $30. There's also a reason this is a lot of people's first mod, because it's a good mod to start with. Reason being, if you're starting out and this is your first mod, it gets you familiar with a lot of the tools you might be needing. Precision screwdriver, a saw, some snippers, glue. It gets you familiar with the basic stuff like that, and also gets you familiar with how the inside of some blasters might look, with air restrictors and dart posts. How a plunger tube might look, how a trigger system might look. And going back to the blaster being so cheap, you could say that it's better to mod a cheap blaster than buy a newer blaster and risk breaking it, where if you break this, at least you didn't spend too much money on it. And then for those of us who have been in the hobby for a while, it can act as a sort of return to form, a classic mod from the good old days. A time before, you couldn't just buy a pack of short darts and a pro-level blaster at Walmart. You had to make something and take time and effort into building something. Because this is as simple and bare bones as it can get with modding a Maverick, but there's so much more you can do. Modding a Maverick also acts as a platform to build your skills, because you can also brass the cylinder, you can swap the cylinder, you can swap internals. And even the shell lends itself really well to a paint job. There have been tons that look beautiful. And if you don't want to paint one, then the Maverick comes in tons of flavors, my favorite being the whiteout Maverick. Or if you want to do something really intermediate, you can build a Mayfly, turning the Maverick into a semi-auto flywheel blaster. So to definitively answer the question, why would you mod a Maverick in 2024? Because it's fun. Modding is fun. Nerf is meant to be fun, and if doing something like this is fun for you, then you should just go ahead and do it. Don't worry about what other people are going to say. It doesn't matter if it's outdated. It doesn't matter if it doesn't compete at such a performance, hitting 300 FPS level. If it's fun, do it. I realize I might end a lot of my videos like that, but it's true. Nerf is meant to be fun for everyone, no matter what you want to do, no matter if you're into vintage stuff, if you're into new stuff, or you want to make your own stuff. This is for you. You can do whatever you want here. I wanted to mod a Maverick, so I did, and I'm sure it's not going to be the last one that I do. So in the comments down below, let me know your favorite Maverick mod, if you've modded one yourself. Leave any other suggestions, comments, questions, or concerns as well. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and hit the bell notification so you can be notified for when I make more content. In doing so, it does encourage me to make more content. And I will see you guys next time.